Tonight, we're going to talk about the secrets to scaling a cosmetic practice. And there's a reason for the timing on this, and you'll see as I go along. So this presentation is for you if you are the main revenue generator and you don't see how to change that. You feel the pressure of shouldering all the responsibilities for growing your practice. I know a lot of you feel that. And then you can't figure out how to grow your practice without dramatically increasing your overhead. So if you're having any of those issues, that's what we're going to talk about, because times have changed and they're going to continue to change. I've been around for 21 years, so I've been through the recessions and all the craziness. And one thing we can count on, it will always change. Now, currently, I think you're experiencing a very nice peak. Boy, these COVID people just cannot get enough of your services. So right now, there's this huge surge, and most of you are very booked out. I like to call it you're fat and happy. So you're not focused on growing your practice right now. If anything, you say to me, I don't even want any more patients. Just please remember, tides always change. The time for you to plan for that change is now, when you do have too many patients, because otherwise, if you wait, it's going to be too late. There are a bunch of sayings about that, like sow your oats now or something, whatever that saying is. But knowledge is power. And I'm saying that for a reason, because I'm going to give you some knowledge during this presentation, but acting on that knowledge is everything. Because, we all know a ton of stuff, but do we ever do any of it? That's the secret. And by the way, a valley can be all sorts of different things. And actually, I'm going to go through that in a second. So here's what I've learned. The greatest predictor of a practice's ability to scale is the surgeon's willingness to change. I know how easy it is to get stuck in a rut and do things the way you've always done them, because that's what you're comfortable with. But in my podcast, as I've been interviewing surgeon after surgeon, the top surgeons are always open to change, open to learning and growing and pivoting when they need to. So please, please keep that in mind while we're talking about scaling your practice. So here's what you're going to discover: what it takes to scale your practice, the challenges coming up, and then how you pivot, and then how do you thrive and survive no matter what's going on in the world. And I'm not just talking about COVID. I'm talking about, obviously recessions, the real estate market, but also the hurricanes, the fires, all the crazy weather things that happen that take you out. It can take your practice out for a couple days, a week. Remember all the blackouts? Where I'm in California, so we have California fires everywhere. I'll never understand why they don't prevent them, because we know they're coming. I've had surgeons whose their house has burnt to the ground in 45 minutes and it's gone. I've had surgeons have horseback riding accidents and they, hurt themselves and now they're on crutches for 6 weeks. It's always trying to figure out your plan B when plan A fails, quite frankly. So here's the objective. When you scale your practice, you're doing it for all sorts of reasons: to be more profitable, of course, to enjoy your practice more. I mean, sometimes surgeons call me and they're so fed up with all of this. They're like, I just want to retire. I just don't feel like doing this. Whereas other surgeons say, no, I want to grow this. Just help me. Just tell me what are the rules in today's world and I'll do them. But you also want to have more time for your family or your hobbies or whatever it is you're interested in, and just plain have more fun. I mean, it took you so long to become a surgeon. It took even longer to grow your practice into an asset for yourself. So I want you to have more fun at it, because in some days it's just not fun, is it? So here's the ultimate goal. And tell me if I'm right about this, and you can put it in the chat box. Here's where I think you're going for your ultimate goal. As a plastic surgeon, you want a system that attracts a steady stream of cash-paying patients to you without you spending a fortune on advertising, chasing down leads, hiring more staff, discounting your services, or performing on social media, because that's what it's come to. Now, in other words, a faster, easier, cheaper way to more cosmetic patients and profits. If I'm off, just tell me. If I'm right about this, please stay tuned, because this is where I'm going to try to give you that system that I know works. okay? Because once you get this right and get a system down, here are results you can expect. So here's a typical result we get using this system. 25 new signups, 35 patients have spent enough to be in the 3,000 tier club, 2 patients have spent 5,000, there are 12 referrals, 7 reviews, 8 before and after photos to use in your photo gallery, 5 social shares for the revenues for that month of 195,352. And I am not talking about surgery here, I'm talking about non-surgical. The focus here is on non-surgical, and I'll talk more about that. Now, I want to really thank you for spending time with me tonight. I know you have plenty of things to do, so I really appreciate it, and I want to give you a gift. I put together this Cosmetic Practice Group Growth Booster Kit, and it's for you. It's included in it is a 9-point practice assessment, and this is how you know if you're even scalable. Like, where are you on the scalable chart of, you're scaled or you haven't even started yet. So that's super helpful to you. Also, a patient attraction blueprint, because that's what it's all about. I'm all about systemizing everything. And then you can have a 30-minute strategy call with me, should you want to. Now, I'm going to give you the link to that at the end of this presentation, so stay tuned for that. And just in case you don't know who I am, because my emails get forwarded a lot, my name is Catherine Maley. I do have an MBA, and that's why I'm a marketing and business consultant to surgeons. I'm also an author of a book, Your Aesthetic Practice. It's right here. I'm also a speaker. I used to be a live speaker at meetings, but I haven't been out in 18 months, so I am dying to get back out again and see everybody. But for now, it's been virtual. I also have a podcast called Beauty in the Biz. It's for plastic surgeons. So I just want to put the word out. If you're interested in being a guest on my podcast, just shoot me an email on my website, or send me a message on my website, and we'll get a hold of you and we can talk about that. I also do an awful lot of staff training, and I've been actually, thanks to my book and all the writing I do, because I write in a lot of the magazines and all this speaking, all of this is a clue on how to get PR. So if you're interested in PR, that's how you do it. I've been interviewed by the New York Times, ABC News, Newsweek. And I did that because I put myself out there and opened up these channels. So you might want to do the same thing. Okay, I'm also going to have a very special offer only for you who are on this webinar. It's just for your eyes only. So please take advantage of it if it makes sense to you. Okay, so let's dive in. To achieve scalable impact, here's what you need. The big one is leverage. I love leverage. You've already spent the time, the money, the effort attracting and developing these assets that scale your practice. And what that means is, now that you've already invested in it, you can just continue to use it for free and grow your revenues with a lot less effort. Leverage is key to all of this scaling. The next one is bankable profits. And here's what I mean by that. I've been in an awful lot of practices who make a ton of money. However, when we look at their P&L and all their overhead, they're getting crushed typically with advertising and just overspending on all sorts of stuff because they want to be everywhere to everybody. And you have to really take a look at that, because the only thing that counts is how much money do you get to take out of your practice and use for your own. It doesn't help if you're just making money to put back in your practice. That's how you keep it going. But where's the part where you get to take it out and invest in real estate, or go on vacations, or buy another business, or God knows what, or travel. So bankable profits is where we're going with that. And then the third thing is transferable value. When you scale a practice, you're doing that not just for like a financial future, which is fantastic, but you always want to think about what is your end game? And if you ever wanted to sell your practice to somebody else, it has to be transferable. So right now it has your name all over it, but I'm going to show you how you tweak that so it becomes more of an asset that somebody else could take over when it's time. Okay. Now here's some challenges ahead, and this is the knowledge part. If you don't know what's going on, you can get blindsided by it. So here are some challenges. And by the way, I know this because I'm in a mastermind. I've been in masterminds my whole career. And it's usually a $25,000 thing. You hang around with other big thinkers. I love hanging around with marketers, entrepreneurs, people who own businesses. I'm always trying to take what I learned there and bring it here. So here are some challenges ahead that we've been talking about. Did you hear what happened about privacy? And a lot of you might have heard about it because Apple made you hear about it when you had to do your latest update on your iPhone. There was that question. And that question was, do you allow us to allow others to track you on their apps? And you got to say, ask the app not to track or allow it. And here's the backstory of what's going on. There's a big fight right now between Apple, Google, and Facebook. It's all about who can grab the consumer data. Everybody was grabbing it before, which is why we have no privacy anymore, because they all know everything about us, because they watch every move we make, everything we click on. And so the government got involved and started suing them for billions of dollars. So two things happened. One, they were forced to, and two, now they're competing against each other for who can grab the most consumer data and not share it with each other. Now, normally, who cares? You know, because, well, actually, you should care, because on the one hand, you have your privacy back, but do you know what's going to happen? When you know how things follow you around online depending on your interest. It happens all the time. You know, they always say things like, oh, since you are interested in this, I'm going to show you this. Well, if you take back your privacy, it's going to be a free-for-all on the internet, because they're not going to know what you're interested in, because they can't follow you anymore. So I think that's going to create a real problem for us consumers who are trying to find information online. We're going to be like, I care a lot about dogs. I could care less about wrestling. And now well, they probably wouldn't give me a wrestling, but they would give me something like women who like to cook. I don't know how to cook, so that would be wasted on me. Like, you're better off putting me in front of the dogs. But can you see what's going to happen? We're going to get our privacy back, but now we're going to have a terrible experience online. So you just can't win. Anyway, the point is, because there's going to be no more targeting, think about this. Your internet marketers that you're paying dearly for to not only do your SEO to attract patients to you, but also to do your PPC advertising typically, because SEO is never enough anymore. You have to pay to play. Well, they can't target your audience anymore. So for example, they used to say, okay, I want females 30 to 50 in the zip code. Well, if they can't do that anymore, look what happens. You used to have they had 100% data available to them. It's now down to 10%. So you can't blame your PPC guys, you know, for giving you like an ad budget now that's going to increase, because that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a lot like mass advertising, like TV. You would spend a fortune advertising on TV to talk to millions of people, and you were just hoping some of them wanted cosmetic rejuvenation. Well, I love targeting, because it's much easier to target people who actually want cosmetic rejuvenation when you had all these attributes to choose from. Well, now that you don't, now you have to target everybody, and that's going to be a problem, because this is what's going to happen. Lead costs are going to go up a lot. The stats already, before the stuff hit the fan, was already it was estimated to be a 30% to a 200% increase in cost per result. Now, with the plastic surgery market, typically it costs about, and on average, depending on where you are, of course, but on average, it costs about $1,500 for you to actually get a new surgical patient procedure. Can you imagine if that increased 200%? I mean, that's going to wipe out any profit margin you ever had. And that is not how you scale. So we want to plan for that. Because here's what else is going to happen. You know how you currently complain now to your internet providers? You say, these leads are crappy. Don't you do that all the time? If you think they are now, wait till they can't target them anymore. Now they're really going to be brutal. You're not going to know what neighborhood they're in, what gender they're. I mean, it's going to be tough. So now the quality of leads is going to plummet, and now your staff is going to be even more spending a lot more time, money, and effort trying to triage these leads to figure out who actually wants your services. So nothing good came from this privacy issue for you personally. It's just going to cost you a lot more, and you're going to get worse results. That's all there is to it, I'm sorry to say. Now, let's talk about social media, because the same darn thing is happening there. The more, you know what's happened? The internet was the greatest thing, but it was the wild, wild west. Well, now that they've learned so much more and everyone's more sophisticated with it, the rules keep changing. And the problem with that is there's only a few who know the rules, and that's Google, Facebook, and Apple. And the rest of us are flying blind. And frankly, I don't like that scenario. I can't play the game if I don't know the rules. And social media keeps limiting you constantly. So things that are happening, like they're strangling 90% of your followers. Actually, the number is closer to, it's something like only 5.2% of your followers actually see your posts regularly. And the reason is they want you to pay to play. But do you know what's so disconcerting about that? You have this false sense of confidence that, oh, all your patients are coming from Instagram. Everything's great, you know? And if that were true, and they are coming from Instagram, just know that you don't own that platform. You're only renting space on it. So the rent can go up any minute, and they can give you a notice at any time that says you're blocked because they don't like your content, or they don't like you, or God knows what. And if you've ever been blocked, you know it takes days, weeks, or months, or never, to get it unblocked, because it's so easy to offend people. With plastic surgery and social media, we don't get along well with social media because you're offending their consumers. You're offending their followers because you're saying you don't look good enough, you're not skinny enough, blah, blah, blah. So that's already an issue. Also, it's a lot of time on your end. I hope, social media is so darn time consuming. Here's what I would recommend. It's absolutely vital that you be on these platforms to be found and show some personality, but you don't need to be doing this yourself. You don't need to be editing videos, writing out scripts. You have to outsource this and get somebody who knows social media well, who can walk around with you with an iPad or an iPhone, and they're really good at editing and using the video apps and making you look like a star. You shouldn't be that involved in this. You should be able to do something that you're normally doing anyway in the practice. They're capturing it, and then they're slicing and dicing it and turning it into all sorts of entertaining content for different platforms. I'll just leave it at that, because that isn't this talk. But boy, to scale a practice, you have got to get some help and stop doing things that you might like to do it, but is it making you money? If it's not, please stop doing it and get somebody else too who's paid a lot less than you are. Okay. So get back to the same question. So how do you scale? Well, here's how you typically scale a cosmetic practice. You attract more patients, but then you get them to return more often and spend more at each visit. But then you encourage them to refer their friends, give you a good review, share you on social media. So you spend less on advertising for new patients, because you have turned these patients into your sales ambassadors, and they're bragging about you, talking about you, sharing about you online. And that's how you scale. You're letting your patients do the work for you, so you're not spending the time on it, and especially not the money on it. At least not enough, not a lot. I'm not saying don't advertise, you have to. I'm saying balance that out a bit, because your ad budget's going to get blown up if you don't have other ways to find new patients. So I always have catchy little things. Focus on the fundamentals. When I do consulting with practices, they often say to me, I need more leads. And I have to tell you, in my findings, you typically don't have a lead problem. You more than likely have a converting problem. So for example, you can get a ton of leads to come in and you're feeling good about that. But then what happens if you're not watching and you're not training your staff? You have these leads coming in, but your receptionist is losing them, and she can't schedule the appointment. As a matter of fact, there's usually about $500,000 right there just in the receptionist stage. And let's say you have a pretty good receptionist, but then the question is, are these patients showing up? Are they showing up on time? Are they showing up ready to say yes? And you have to know that number, because if they're not, you're missing some strategies. And then when they do show up, are they actually saying yes? Or are they saying, I have to think about it. I have to talk to my husband. I'm going to go talk to some other people. I mean, that's not how we do this. You know, you've got to get to a yes, because nothing happens until that credit card exchanges hands, right? And then when they do become a patient, did you see it through? Did you go through the whole loop so they actually return again, refer their friends, give you a good review? This is how you scale a practice. You get so good at knowing all of these strategies and these numbers. And that's why I'm going to give you the blueprint at the end. It's completely filled out. You know, even if we don't work together, I want you to get this, because this is where the real money is. I promise you. And I love this quote. The key to success is not doing more. It's doing more of what works. Isn't that the truth? How often do you do something, you say, why am I doing that? Or the staff will say, we've been doing this forever. And you finally have a meeting and say, okay, should we be doing that? Like, is it doing anything for us? I can't tell you how many times I've done it in my own business. So many times. We finally go through our processes and we cut out half the stuff we've been doing that nobody cares about. And I could go into detail, but I'm not going to, but nobody cares. Nobody clicks on it. Nobody's watching it. It's like, then why are we doing it? So let's do something else. Please, please take this to heart. The key to success is not doing more, it's doing more of what works. So here's what I say. Please follow your successes first. The easiest way to grow your practice is to go look at some numbers, see what's working, and do more of that. Don't test any new stuff. Just look at your own data right now. I call it follow the money. Follow the money, because wherever it's coming from, there's plenty more there. You just have to go get some more of it through those patients that actually pay you. So very, very simple. All you're going to do is pull a report called revenues by procedures. This is important because the surgeon, oftentimes the surgeon thinks that he's doing, you know, he's the only revenue generator and nobody else does anything around there. And it's usually true, actually. But in this particular case, this surgeon did have the wherewithal, because he wanted to scale. He did have the wherewithal to at least buy a cool sculpting machine, and he also brought on a nurse injector. Now, that alone, in a matter of very short time, look at how much his revenue, instead of him doing everything, he did more like, let's say, I don't know, 60%. And all of a sudden, he had a bunch of revenues coming in that he was not involved with. So he could actually take off on a Friday if he wanted to, and the revenues would still come in. And I'm just going to throw this out here. I circled skincare at 1% because I have watched several practices focus on skincare. And I think it's because they're trying to scale, because they say, what? I don't have to do it. My esthetician does it. You know, it's easy money for us. But if you think about it, is it? Is it really? Because you have your vendors, your skincare vendors in there helping you do all the marketing. They're very focused on you. They're taking hours of your staff's time talking about skincare. They're showing them how to market for skincare. They're doing events for skincare. However, is that the money maker? And could they be putting their efforts elsewhere, like somehow figure out how to sell more cool sculpting and injectables because it's already proven to work? Do you see what I mean? When you're scaling, you start looking at these details and asking questions like, where do we spend our money, and where are the opportunity costs that we have to shift? Because you can't do everything. You know, you only have so much time, money, and effort and energy. So please put it where the most money is first. And then if you want to get fancy and do extra things, then do them. First, get this down first. Now, here's another report that I love. The revenues by referral source. What happens is when I go to practices, I say, so where are the patients coming from? And of course, the words out of their mouth, oh, Google, oh, the internet. And I have gone all over the country with a questionnaire I have, and it's called the 40 patient exercise. And I have the patients I have the staff look at the surgery calendar, and they write down the last 40 surgeries they did, and they have to write down where that patient came from, like what was the referral source, what procedure did they have, and what zip code did they come from. And when I compiled all the data, you know what ended up happening? Gosh, I should have brought the data. Over half of the patients came from word of mouth, and the other, then there was like a 10% that came from alliances, like salons or spas, and then the rest was the internet. And maybe it's different for you. I'm just saying, on average, everyone thinks it's the internet, but when you really look at your data, get rid of the anecdotal stuff, get rid of the guessing. When you really look at the data, the numbers don't lie. So on this particular account, they had the same issue. No, it all comes from Google. Really? So we looked at it, and sure enough, 46% was the internet, but word of mouth was a huge part of it. Current patients coming back for more was another big part. They did have a little bit coming from salons and spas in the neighborhood. And that just made it all different because, and again, I show circles, their social media was 1% and their magazines were 0%. So as a consultant, I would have said, you know what, let's just do this. You want to do social media, it makes you comfortable, it makes you happy, go ahead and do your social media, but just know that's not where the money is coming from. Let's take that ad money from magazines and redirect it over to word of mouth. And that is how you scale, because now you're taking your resources, redirecting them to somewhere that works, and you're not wasting money anymore on something that just isn't working at all. And I have a caveat here. When I go to practices, I'll often say, so how did they hear about you? And sure enough, the caller will say internet. It's just a go-to thing. We all say that, the internet. But then when the caller gets to know the staff better, like they visited, they're bonding, they get to know each other better, almost every single time they say, well, actually, no, I shouldn't say that. Half the time they did get it from Google or PPC, an ad or something. But the other half of the time they end up saying, actually, my girlfriend mentioned you, and then I went to your Instagram account, and then I went to your website. So it was still the internet. It just wasn't the internet you thought it was. So please, please know these numbers well, get to know your patients well, and get the real answer. How did they hear about you? Because here's the takeaway. The more you focus, the less you spend, and the better results you get. Bottom line, that's how you scale. Now, if you've been practicing with a one and done mindset, which is, I completely get it right now. You are enjoying the good life. And right now your focus is on surgery, and I get it. However, you're not developing much of a bond with the patients when it's a one and done surgical patient. It's a fairly short-term relationship. So as you know, there's no certainty in that surgical patient because you never know, are they ever going to come back? If they come back, do they come back soon enough? Like, you don't need them to come back 10 years from now if you're already 60, you need them to come back sooner. So there's not a ton of certainty in that. And that's tough to scale. So here's what I'm proposing. If you would please shift to a patients for life mentality, that's how you're going to win. That's how you're going to scale. And that's how you're going to walk away with a financial future that you can count on. So here's what I'm proposing. Please enjoy the surgical side of your practice. It's lovely. Enjoy it while it lasts. God knows what's ever going to happen, but everyone's always going to need surgery. However, please start focusing on building your non-surgical side of your plastic surgery practice. Build that into a healthy, standalone profit center. And here's why. Patients enter different doors. They always have. And what happens is, now that the competition is so fierce, what happens is you oftentimes only get that one surgical procedure that, let's say, was worth $10,000, but they go somewhere else for their injectables and somewhere else for their lasers and maybe somewhere else for skin tightening. Here's what happens. You got that $10,000 for surgery, but you missed out on the extra $20,000 that they're going to spend in the next few years. And God knows I'm that patient, so trust me on this one. If you do not develop that relationship and become the umbrella for all of their needs, they're gonna give you only some of their money, and that's very short-sighted. Here's what you want. You want that patient to come in any door they want, but stay in the other doors. If they want to come for surgery, terrific. But now hang on to them for injectables and lasers. If they want a laser procedure, terrific. Give them that, bond with them, develop a relationship, and they'll come back for surgery. That's how it works. And that's how you scale. And here's the best part. Our industry is so perfect with a hungry market. Cosmetic patients have endless needs. They always will. They start out all sorts of things, and especially women, we sure like to compare ourselves to others, judge ourselves, check out all of our imperfections. We're very, very good at that. So that works to your favor. So you have a patient. It doesn't matter what her age is. She has all sorts of issues. She could have wrinkles, red and brown spots, blotchy skin, crepey skin, sagging body parts, unwanted fat pockets. And this never ends. As the aging process continues, so do her issues. And we females, boy, we sure focus on that one imperfection. Then we fix it. What's the first thing we do? We jump right to the next imperfection we have. So it's just never ending, and it's just the way it is. So now here's something else that has happened to your favor, but you won't think so because you just want to talk about surgery typically. But somebody who is smart enough to scale knows that technical advancements are hurting you a lot. And what I mean by that is, one day, all I did was I went to Google and I just typed in non-surgical, and look what they did. Boom, 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 boom. Non-surgical body contouring, non-surgical nose job, non-surgical rhino, facelift, nose job, thigh lift, brow lift, tummy tuck, eyelid lift, lipo. And it's not necessarily that that's true. Like, can you really get like a non-surgical tummy tuck? The point is, it confuses the heck out of the patient, because now they're trying to figure out, oh, you mean I don't have to have surgery? This is fantastic. I can do non-surgical stuff. It could keep them from having surgery for years and years. So they could be giving tens of thousands of dollars to other competitors because they're offering them the non-surgical things that they want. So when you grab that group now where they are, and that's the secret, you attract that patient where they are right now, you keep them loyal to you. So when they're ready for more, they don't even think about going elsewhere because you're their go-to practice. Doesn't that make sense? By the way, I checked out the latest stats at, well, it was called ASAPs. Now it's confusing me. I'm also speaking at ASAPs in Australia, and they call themselves ASAPs. But now ASAPs in America now calls themselves the Aesthetic Society. So I'm just trying to keep up. Anyway, I checked out their stats for 2020 because those are their latest. And do you realize non-surgical has become 1/3 of all aesthetic procedure revenues? That's a pretty big number. It's like over $3 billion, and that continues to grow. So it's just telling you where the arrows are and where things are trending. And if I were you, when you want to scale, you want to be in on those trends and follow the patients that follow the money. Now, here's another very big stat that is the biggest opportunity I see for any practice who wants to scale. When surveyed, 93% of patients would have referred, but only 29% actually do. Isn't that the truth? I want to do it all the time, and I always forget because I'm busy. You know, most patients are not thinking about how to grow your practice. That's why you have to put together strategies to help them help you. So if I were you and wanting to scale a practice, I would figure out and work on the difference. Because what's that difference? Something like 62% or something, 64%, whatever it is. That's where the money is. And then I wrote, just to be snarky, I wrote, not your TikTok videos. Before you start dancing on TikTok, why don't you first look at this? This is where the real money is. Promise you. And then here is a really, this is the best part of all of this. A 5% increase in your non-surgical patient retention increases your profits by 25 to 95%. And the reason is your recurrent non-surgical patients, they buy more, they return more often, they review you, they refer their friends, they do all that without advertising. So in essence, they're increasing their lifetime value with you, which decreases your advertising budget because you have so many patients coming back so often, you don't need as many new patients. Doesn't that make sense? I love that. So retention really is the new patient attraction strategy. It's the using your leverage, and this is where your leverage is. All these patients who know, like, and trust you. And you know that because they've been in, they called you, they showed up for their appointment, they gave you money. They all have a whole bunch of friends and relatives and neighbors and gym buddies, and it goes on and on and on. But can you imagine what would happen if each one of your current patients just referred one of their friends? I mean, my God, that would double your practice overnight, and you didn't spend a dime on advertising because you're going to have a system to make that happen automatically. So here's something that happened. I was so frustrated one day because I was so frustrated with Facebook and Google and all the ads increasing. The costs were going to be crazy. And then all the rules that kept limiting us on advertising. And one day I just said to Google, how can I get more cosmetic patients? This is literally what I said. And this is literally what came up. Get more reviews for your cosmetic surgery practice, enhance your online presence, don't miss out on social media platforms. So yes, you need to be there. Positive or negative, respond to reviews. I could talk about that some other time, but you do need to respond. Train your staff and build strong relations with existing patients, and referrals will follow. And I said, oh my God, they're singing my song. I've been saying this for 21 years. Why don't we do that? So the system I'm going to talk to you about covers most of those. So here's in a nutshell how you scale. And this will be eye-opening to you. First, you increase referrals and reviews. Then you retain more patients. Then you add more value to differentiate yourself from your competitors. Then always ongoing staff training. It's never ending. Then you increase your conversion rate. Then you increase your transaction value or lifetime value. Then you increase the frequency of visits. And then you increase your leads. You all do it the other way around. You increase your leads first, and then you do the rest if you have time or money or effort or care, or whatever, interest in it. That's not how you scale. You do it this way. It's kind of like, I don't know if this is a terrible analogy. It's kind of like you clean your house and you prepare food for a party first, and then you invite the party, all the people in. You don't first invite the people and then clean and prepare the meal while they're there. And same thing here. Get your ducks in a row first, which means prepare for the leads so they do convert, so you don't have to spend even more money trying to go find some new leads that didn't convert, or they did convert but never returned because you never didn't care or didn't encourage them. This is how you scale. Okay, so to use a scalable strategy, you want one where you don't have to advertise. You don't have to discount, because that's going to be the end of us. This discounting is so out of control. It's got to stop. And I put a stop to it myself with this strategy. It's just a race to the bottom. No one's going to win. You'll never have enough money to scale anything because your overhead's going to be crazy because you're not making any money because you're discounting. So that's not the way to do this. And then no lost patients. Most of you, the patients are going out the back door as quick as they're going in the front door. And when you scale, here's what happens. They come in the front door. There's a nice golden gate in the back door, so they can't leave, and they just keep coming back in again. That's how you do it. Okay. So here's what I want to do. 10x the value of your patients. Now, obviously not all of them, but right now you're not even close to getting, a small majority of them. The way to do this is to take a patient that you currently have that's normally worth about $1,000 to you and turn them into a $10,000 sales ambassador. With a system, you easily and professionally and in a fun way have that patient return more often, refer more friends, review you, so more patients looking read your reviews and say, yes, I want to see him or her too, and shares you on social that attracts even more friends and followers of hers because she's talking you up. That's how you scale. Now, the secret to this is changing the conversation. Where we're at right now with the conversation is not good. It's all about discounting and who's going to give you a deal, and I got a quote from this guy. Are you going to match it or do better? We have to get away from that. Most practices actually have no idea how insanely difficult it is to get a preferred patient who can see you, be attracted to you, show up, say yes, and give you money. It's a big deal to get that to happen. So what happens is it's not easy because you're not set up right. So you have a tendency to go with discounts to attract new patients, right? Everyone does it because you can't figure out what else to do. So you're enticing them with discounts. The problem with that is that message is attracting price shoppers. And we all know what happens with them. They're a pain in the neck. They take up all your time. They complain the most. They give you the worst reviews. And as I said, they're a race to the bottom, and they're going to nickel and dime you to death, and you're not going to be happy, and you're not going to have fun. It's just not a fun way to run your practice. So with the creative strategy I'm proposing, I'm going to change the conversation, and we're going to go from discounting to collecting kisses for free services. Now, this makes it fun for your patients to collect kisses to win something. Now, by the way, the most effective word in advertising has always been and will continue to be the word free. So we use that word strategically to get the patients to behave the way we want. And that is, we want them to help you grow your practice organically, right? So I want to introduce to you the Automatic KISS Loyalty Club. It's a patient retention club, a loyalty club, and a patient attraction club all in one. So its sole purpose is to grow your revenues by encouraging your patients to return, refer, review, approve their photos to be using in your photo gallery, give you video testimonials, share you on social media, and they can even have surgery. That's optional. Why we are doing this is it completely turns this game upside down to your favor, by the way. So now you're going to have peace of mind knowing you have this system that's giving you predictable and reliable revenues. So here's how it works. And this is the beauty of this. I have been around for so long. I have watched so many other reward or loyalty programs, and they're so gosh darn complicated. Nobody knows what's going on. Everyone's confused. The staff's confused. The patients are confused. Nobody's excited about it because they don't even know what's going on. So here's what we're doing. One kiss equals $1. Collect kisses for free services, and those can be one area Botox, one syringe filler, one laser treatment. That's it. There are no other rules. There's no more discussion. It's just collect your kisses, here are the tiers, have fun. Now, if they want to shortcut it and get free stuff sooner, all they have to do is get extra kisses by helping you grow your practice. And it's very simple. They'll get extra kisses when they refer a friend, give you a good Google review, have a surgical procedure as optional, submit a video testimonial, consent to before and after photos. That's it. Those are all the rules. We don't add, that's another issue, especially with, I'll just say some of the pharmaceutical companies, they have these loyalty programs that are good for you, but terrible for the patients and the staff because they are so confusing. And there's so many rules. It's not fun. I just don't get those. They're not helping the patients anyway. You can still use them for your own efforts because I can see why you want to use them for your own monetary benefit, but please think about using this for the real loyalty program. So you can use both, of course. You need your patients, you need to somehow get them to want to talk about you on social media, because if that's where all the eyes went, and that's what you're trying to do, you're trying to get attention wherever the eyes are. But if you notice, if their followers also care about cosmetic rejuvenation, and that patient of yours is telling them how great you are and how great the program is, like it's called the KISS Club, how great the KISS Club is. And this patient actually is holding up one of our suckers. We have suckers with lips, and we use them as props for social media for your staff and for your patients, because this is how you do this without advertising. You give these props to your patients and your staff, so they add them to social media, so new patients or followers see you and want to get to know you as well. And the patients love the KISS Club. They're constantly writing. We have lots of technical advancements that we use to get the word out and get new patients to want to participate in your KISS Club. So they'll say things, they'll fill in our forms. Hey, please enroll me in the KISS Rewards. Please enroll me in the KISS Rewards Club. Join KISS Rewards program. We get that a lot because it's just a fun thing to do. As a matter of fact, 96% of all people who visit your website on average never do anything. And that's a shame. So unless you're technically savvy and you're retargeting them, like following them around on the internet, the next best thing to do is use our banner and our landing page. And we encourage them, oh, you don't want to, you're not ready for a consultation just yet, join the KISS Club. And we oftentimes can capture that lead for you with the KISS Club. And then we're nurturing them for you with the KISS Club. So when they are ready for you, we're priming them for you. So when they're ready, they're going to call you. Now, I did do a revenues calculator to give you an idea of what I'm talking about here when you change the conversation like this. So say, for example, you have a database of 2,000 patients. Some of you have way more, but I don't need to exaggerate this. So you have 2,000 patients, and let's say your average value of a non-surgical patient is $500. Here's what the KISS Club does. And I don't want to exaggerate. So I just said, what if only 20% participated of your 2,000? Well, that's 400 patients. And what if, due to the KISS Club encouraging them to return and all of that, what if we doubled their value to $1,000? So they were 500, now they're 1,000. That's already an extra $400,000. You haven't done anything. We've done it all for you. Now, let's say every office, every practice has their Uber fans. You don't even know who your Uber fans are yet because you haven't instituted the KISS Club. But when you do, they will come out of the woodwork because patients love this stuff. They love the gamification of it. So let's say only 10% of them turn into raving fans. Okay, that's 200 of them. And these are the ones who 10x. These are the ones who just love this game and they want to collect their kisses, and they're referring, reviewing, returning, and talking you up on social media. That group went from 500 of their lifetime value up to 5,000 because we 10 times their value. And now that's $1 million. So very easily your revenues went to 1.4 million. And we did all the work for you using our strategies. Pretty nice, huh? And it's not just the money. It's the scaling part that is so interesting to you. You can make money. Right now, you're making a lot of money, but you're not, my guess is you're not doing enough with it to prepare for the future. You're just getting them in and out, getting them through. The real magic is to get them in this loop of all the assets you need to grow a practice for the long term. It's always going to be this: referrals, reviews, your photos, and sharing you with their friends and family. It's always going to be that. So that's why this is so strong. So here's a case study. When you do it the way I recommend you do it, here's the results you can expect. The new signups for this group was 25. They had 35 patients in the 3,000 tier club, 2 in the 5,000 tier club. They had 12 referrals, 7 reviews, 8 before and after photos, 5 social shares, and the revenues were 195,352. And again, I'm only talking about non-surgical. We can add the surgical if you want, but I'm just saying this thing really is valuable and impressive even without the surgical. Now, some of you say, but I'm not giving away all this stuff. I'm going to go broke. And I just wanted to give you, I looked at some of our clients because I'm very transparent. We look at what did it cost you to make this money, because it's always the ROI. That profitable, bankable profits, we're always looking at that. So for example, one of the practices, they had redeemed $720 of hard costs, like let's say Botox and filler, but they collected $7,500 of revenues to give away that $720. So that ROI was 946%. Another group, they redeemed, cost them $1,200, but they brought in 14, almost 15,000 because of that. So their ROI was 1,146%. Another group, their redemption costs that month were 5,060. However, the revenues collected were 91,558. Isn't that crazy? So their ROI was 1,709%. And the other one, the numbers were small, but the ROI was incredible. They had redeemed 400, but that that 400 was worth 12,120 for them. So that ROI was 2,930%. This is how you build up your profitable, your bankable profits. This is how you build up your leverage, and this is how you build your peace of mind with predictable revenues and just great revenues all on autopilot. So why is the KISS Club different? The big one is it's exclusive to your practice. I think it's insane that most of you use a loyalty program from the pharma companies that can be used in any practice. What the heck? That's not giving you transferable value to scale when you're ready to exit. You're just one of everybody else. And I'm not saying don't use it. Use it because they have some good stuff they're doing for you. Just don't make that your loyalty program because it's not working the way you want it to. You need to put golden handcuffs around people. So once you have the KISS Club, they can only get their kisses from your practice and nowhere else. We also do all the marketing for you. It's drop dead easy for staff. I mean, I've been at this game for a very long time. And one thing I have learned is if you don't make this easy for the staff and fun for the patients, it's never going to work. And that's why this one, if you don't fiddle with it and let it work the way I've proven it to work, it's just fun for everybody. Yep. Now, I did do a podcast in case you want to listen to a podcast about this. I interviewed the wife of a plastic surgeon in New Jersey. It's super competitive there. And she runs the med spa part of their practice. And I'll just, if you ever want to watch it, it's episode number 66. But here are a few of the clips that she said. There is lots of competition, so you have to differentiate. This was not a break the bank investment, and it made sense. Onboarding was seamless and smooth. It changed the conversation from discounting to adding value. I still use BD, I don't want to call them out, and they work well together, but they can only get kisses from us, so that's helping with retention and loyalty. Somebody else, a plastic surgeon, also in a very competitive area in Florida, said, I really like the increased loyalty of our patients due to the KISS Club or KISS Rewards Club. They like the emails and social media and are talking it up, and that's increasing our new patient referrals. We also love the reviews. Yeah. So here's what you get. It's an app that sits on your computer in a tab. We don't need to integrate it. We can, but there's no need to. It's very simple to use. When somebody comes to checkout, you just open up the tab, you put in their cell phone number, and up comes their account, and you give them kisses for the day. That's it. So if they spend $400, they get 400 kisses. And if they happen to refer a friend or give you a review, you just click one of those boxes and it'll add the additional extra kisses, period. I tell you what, it doesn't get any easier than this. Now, to get you started, we give you this welcome package that's full of great stuff. It's got our newsletter. It's got the suckers on sticks that we use for props. It has KISS stickers that your staff can wear and take selfies with for social media. It's got mugs. It's got all sorts of fun stuff in there to get the ball rolling. And to get it completely, to get it activated, because another big issue is a lot of you have loyalty clubs that you can't sell because you're trying to sell them to patients. And the most you can get out of that is like 100 patients. And it's not going anywhere because it fizzles out. The way I have learned to do it where it really works well is you just automatically enter them. You give us your list. It's all HIPAA compliant. We don't need their history. We just need their name, cell phone, email, and birth date or birth month. And there's no hassle. There's no sign up. There's no registration. We just go ahead and enter them for you. And we welcome them with 100 free kisses because in human nature, we like to complete things. So if you give them 100 kisses, now they see that, oh, they just need whatever, so many more kisses to get something else. Now they're gaming it. Now they want to collect the kisses to get more. And then the done for you marketing is the biggest part of this. And that's why it's not free, because we're taking all this off your plate. You know how I said to scale, you only do what only you should do? I didn't say that, but that's what I mean. You need to start outsourcing things that are not your core competency. And one of them is typically marketing. I want to do that for you. My team and I have this down to a system. It's a process. We are systemized. We have things going out on time, every time. We don't need you to do anything. We want to handle this for you to keep everything on time and accurate so no mistakes are made. So we handle all of it, the emails, the birthday emails, the social media posts, we're going to do that for you, the website banner, and the landing pages to go with it. We have sign up web page. We have a schedule consult page if they want to, you know how nowadays a lot of the patients don't want to call, they just want to like type it in, like send you a message or text you. We can accommodate that. The social media props, we're always encouraging staff and patients to keep talking about you on social. And then in-house signage as well as texting, because the goal is to catch your patients wherever they are. And in today's world, maybe they're on email, maybe they're on text, maybe they're on social, maybe they're in your office. We're trying to catch them anywhere they are. So we've got you covered. So here it is in a nutshell. We market KISS to your patients. You assign the kisses at checkout and we do the rest. Can it get any easier than that? No. So, and we also track all the results. For example, here's another one. Their monthly results, they had 55 new signups, 27 were in the 3,000 tier club, 7 were in the 5,000 tier club, 15 referrals, 2 reviews, 1 before and after photo, 2 social shares, and the revenues collected that month were $213,795. Now, you can do this yourself because that's probably what you might be saying to yourself. Oh, I'll just do this myself. But really, I will just tell you, I have a whole team behind me doing this. It's not for the faint of heart. There's a lot of technology involved, a lot of processes involved. But if you were going to do it yourself, here's what you would need: an email coordinator, a social media coordinator, a graphic designer, Excel patient list manager, phone tracking platform, texting platform, and then you've got to manually track the results. Then that would be brutal. You know, we have to use technology to track all this because it gets pretty detailed. Now, I did go to salary.com and I looked up, well, what would a social media coordinator cost? And they said it was 33 to 54,000. And then I said, well, what would a junior graphic designer cost? And they said 54 to 88 grand. But of course that was San Francisco, so that's on the high side. But regardless, we're talking over 100 grand here to get all of this done. And on top of that, you would have to pay them and deal with their sick days, their vacations, their benefits, their bad attitude. And instead, we handle all that for you. So you have lots of peace of mind there. Now, we do offer 2 service levels. And here's what I did. And the 2 service levels, you can get like just the standard level is $19.97. And then if you want the premier, we do a whole lot of extras for you for $29.97 because the results are just spectacular. So here's what I did. As long as you're on this webinar, what I did was I combined the 2 together. So now you're going to get both levels. You're going to get all those services at reduced fees. And if you want to go now, you can go to kissloyalty.com, but otherwise stay put because I'll just go through it with you. Here's what you're going to get. It's got monthly themed emails, birthday email, we miss you email, database management, landing page, social posts, in-house signage, referral display and takeaway cards, website banner explaining KISS. We have a really cute explainer video for patients that you can put on your website, instruction card for patients, additional props to spread social media, call and link tracking, detailed monthly reports. And then let me go ahead and show you what the rest is. Plus, you're going to get the phone club. I cannot tell you how much money is lost on the phones. I've been mystery shopping this for 2 decades now, and you definitely are missing out $500,000 easy on bad phones. So I do have a phone club. It's very popular. I guarantee you'll convert 30% more callers within 48 hours if your staff would just follow my scripts. It's very simple. Now, that value is normally $14.91 per team member, and I'm giving you access. Anybody who touches your phones, they get this for free. Okay. Plus, you're going to get the converting club to coordinators because, as I mentioned, nothing counts until money exchanges hands and you get to a yes. Again, I guarantee you'll convert 30 to 50% more consults if you just do what I say. I've been at this a long time. I've been in sales my whole entire adult life. As a matter of fact, I used to cold call for 15 years in San Francisco, cold call, like door to door. Talk about painful. But I learned a lot from that, and I'm going to share with you exactly what works in our industry. And again, that's another $14.91 per coordinator. And when we partner, you get that. And especially if teams leave, like staff people leave, we can get them up and running again with good training right away. So you're not losing out on revenues. Plus, you're going to double your revenues without being pushy. I have this great talk that everyone loves. It's called Easy Ways to Cross Promote Cosmetic Services. You will make a little bundle there because you're, again, leaving a ton of money on the table, because most people don't think like I do. Like I can see where the money is. And once I teach your staff, they're like, I get it. And you don't have to be pushy. You don't have to be a salesperson. You just have to be strategic. And I'll show you how. And that value is $397. Plus, you get my 81-page guide. I should have made it a book. It got so out of hand. It's called Plastic Surgery Marketing, What's Working Now Guide. And it includes a ton. I did it at the beginning of the year. It took me a long time to do, many hours. And I included strategic in-house signage, social post ideas with graphics, content marketing plan, a review kit, and so much more. It's really chock full of what's working right now. And you probably should read it now because it'll probably change, in the next year. Plus, you get all these extra social props. We're really big on spreading the word in a fun, compelling way so that creates conversation. So when your staff wears the blinking lips and holds up the coffee mug and wears the stickers and hands out the suckers, there's a lot of conversation going on, and it's a much more fun conversation. Also, we give you some in-house signage. So this stuff just works beautifully, and that value is $350. And then we're also going to text for you. Now texting is a little tricky though. You have to have the right platform processes in place so you don't get in trouble, because there are rules around texting. So I'm going to include 500 texts per month. If you want to do more, we'll just add on a little more. But we have the platform, we have the rules down, we have the processes, and we'll do that for you. And that's a value of $3,000. And lastly, you're going to save $1,500 again because you were on this webinar. I'm going to reduce the setup fee. We normally charge $24.97 because a ton of work goes into customizing all these pieces and setting up the platforms and buying all the apps you need. We've got that covered for you. So all you need is $9.97 to start. We're going to set you up. And you can get all the details now at kissloyalty.com. And so just to reiterate, you now get everything I'm showing here. And instead of it being $29.97, you're getting it, because you're on this webinar, for only $19.97 plus all those extra services I just mentioned. So regarding the money part, to recap, because you're on this and you're not going to see this anywhere else, normally it was $29.97 a month, and well worth it. But I wanted to give you something special on the webinar, otherwise it wouldn't be special. So the reduced fees from $29.97 down to $19.97, you save $12,000. The reduced setup fees saves you $1,500. The VIP text is worth $3,000. The phone training is $14.91 per person. Like that could be 10 times what it is. The converting club is $14.91 per person. And in case you have to make a change, you can add more, but so there's more savings there. The marketing guide is $397. The cross-promoting training is $397. And the props for social media is $350. So the total value that you're getting inclusive for this webinar special is $20,626. And you can sign up right now at kissloyalty.com. And, everything I do, I have a pretty good reputation in the industry because I back everything I do or say or be or whatever. I have a peace of mind guarantee. I will never hold you to something that's not working for you. And you can walk away at any time. There's no long-term contract. The only way this doesn't work, to be completely frank, is you have staff that resist it. Honestly, if you're not the boss and they're not trying to help you grow your practice, I can't help you grow your practice. I need them to just participate. And honestly, that would be the only reason. And frankly, if that's true, you've got the wrong staff and we should talk. Now, to make this really fun, if the first 3 who text me, I want to give you an extra bonus, and that's a backdrop. And this is also going to help you with your social media. So if you text me at my own cell phone, my very own personal cell phone is 415-377-8700. I'm going to give you your choice of backdrops, and we're going to customize one for you that you can keep in your reception area near checkout. And the reason you have a choice is you can have a really big one that almost covers like a whole wall. So it's kind of big, but it's really fun. Or we'll customize a smaller one that you can just put in the corner. And you're using these for patients and staff And the patients can take pictures with you. I mean, pictures, take selfies with you, take selfies just of themselves behind the thing, hold up the suckers. This is also what helps you grow your practice when you make it fun. That's what we need in today's world. You know, these millennials, it's got to be fun. So there you go. So you have a choice to make now. You can do it yourself, or you can let me do it for you with the KISS Loyalty Club. I sure would love to. We've got it down to a science. The results have been spectacular, and I sure would like to work with you too. So, so just to recap, there's all of this, but now that we're at the end, I do want to give you that URL. If you want the free booster kit, it's catherinemaley.com/booster-kit. Okay, catherinemaley.com/booster-kit. Otherwise, I would love for you to partner with me. And here are all the details again. The total value that you're going to save because you're on this webinar is $20,626. There's a no risk guarantee, which means you no long-term contracts. If it doesn't work, I don't know why I wouldn't, but if it didn't, it's okay. And you just go now to kissloyalty.com. So I'm sorry, that was a lot, huh? If you have any questions at all, please put them in the chat box. And I'm more than happy to, if you've got any questions at all, you let me know. And I will stay till there are no more. Okay. Okay. What does that say? Okay. They're talking about another rewards program that they use from another pharma company. Yes, you can always use any of those. We don't care. When you get to the checkout, all we care is what is the value of their visit that day. So let's say they spent $500 that day, but you gave them $100 off from one of the pharma companies. Well, that means they spent $400. They actually gave you $400, and you'll just give them 400 kisses. It's that simple. So we don't want to mess with anything you're doing now, unless you want to, but no, we just want to add on something that makes a lot more sense. Yeah. Does this work in Canada? Yes, it works anywhere that, we're going English though. We're not ready for Spanish right now. We're just going to stick to English country. So if you can live with English, we can help you. So usually though, it's Australia, England, who else? Canada, I don't know, New Zealand. Yeah. So, alrighty. Anything else? I don't see anything else. So we're going to say goodnight. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you need anything, leave me a message and we will talk again, I hope. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.